NFL record for the worst completion percentage. This is a game you need to win. This is a divisional matchup against a team you should beat. This is how you stack up wins. Welcome back to episode 20 of i75Live. It is crazy to say we are on episode 20 episodes.
Kind of flew by.
It has flown by, and with the holidays, everything seems to go by a little bit faster.
Football's almost over.
Football's almost over. But topics for today, big stuff in MLB, a lot of big contracts, college football, playoff bracket finally came out. The Heisman Finalists came out. Week 14 recap, as always. Week 15.
Really good NFL games this week.
Really
good games.
And then, of course, to wrap it up, our bets of the week. Don't forget, also leave a like on the video. If you want the long version, it is on YouTube. I am working on Spotify and getting it on some of those
Apple
other
Podcasts.
platforms. That is probably going to be the goal for the new year.
Yep.
But yes, if you like the long version, you want to listen to everything and not just the clips, subscribe to the YouTube, follow the YouTube. If you just like the clips, of course, you can find those on our TikTok and Instagram and all that. MLB news, though. This was a big one. No one knew where he was going to go. Juan Soto to the Mets, 15 years, 765, no deferred money.
That was a big one. We just looked this up before we talked about this, but before any of this, because I know his contract can change to add up to more money, because there's a no trade clause, and then after 10 years, if he's not getting paid a certain amount, then he can opt out of his contract. But the Mets can help that by, I think, adding like $5 million per year.
Yeah,
it's crazy contract.
And then the contract would go up to almost $800 million.
$800 million
was the case.
Right now, before any of that, like we said, it's more than LeBron James and Tom Brady's career earnings combined. And then it's more than the top 5 highest paid wide receivers in the NFL combined.
Yeah,
that's just stupid money. If your kids and parents out there, if you have kids, tell your kids to pick up a baseball bat and never let them put it down.
I saw tweets of some professional NFL players saying, "Dang, I wish I would have learned how to hit a ball instead of run the ball."
It's crazy.
It is really crazy. It also, I would say, him going to the Mets for this long, me being the Braves fan, it kind of sucks. Yeah. But as our Braves fans know, the Mets will always be the Mets.
They might have just saved baseball, though, because what happens if he goes to the Dodgers?
Yeah.
Nothing was stopping them.
Well, maybe this is why he didn't, because none of it's deferred.
Yeah, that too.
He wanted his money. He didn't want some large...
We were talking about this, so there is kind of a benefit to players taking deferred money.
Yes.
I think it's... Chris, you want to go ahead and explain some of that, like why deferred money is beneficial for players in the first place?
Yeah, so the big question is why, and it's because of this. So to a team, when you defer money, it actually helps them with their luxury tax.
Mm-hmm.
They can spread their luxury tax over multiple years, so it actually saves them a lot of money.
It's a big thing for the MLB because, like we said, no salary cap. In the NBA, although they do have a salary cap, it's a soft one. They do something like the MLB where they have luxury taxes in place.
Yes. And to the player, it actually is good because, I mean, how many 30-30 episodes have you seen where players go broke?
Yeah.
Right? And so this, when they defer money, it guarantees them income after they retire.
Yep.
So that's the benefit to the player.
Yeah.
But it really is. The bigger question, though, is this whole deferred issue. You're right. Thank God he didn't go to the Dodgers. But, I mean, this is getting ridiculous because it seems like there's only a few teams that can even play in this arena.
Yeah, it's got to change sometime soon because it's not going to change on its own. Teams are going to keep doing this. The Dodgers aren't going to stop. I mean, they're going to keep winning rings. And we saw something in the NBA a few years ago. We talked about luxury tax when the Warriors were winning all those championships after they got Kevin Durant. They had to pay over $300 million in luxury taxes, but they paid it. They thought it was worth it because they were making enough in revenue, ticket sales, publicity, just
you were winning
worldwide engagement. Yeah. And then you were winning championships with it. So it's like, it's a payoff.
It's a give and take if it works out. But congrats to him though. He's very young. He's going to be great for a long time.
Yeah.
It does suck that he's in the Mets. I'm going to have to watch him for a while, but
got to play him 19 times a year or something like that.
The Mets will be the Mets.
Mets will be the Mets.
So
another one, I know this one kind of touches home a little bit.
Yeah, you know, this
Fried.
one, everyone saw it coming. I think it was going to happen.
Did this deal get finalized yesterday?
It was yesterday.
Yeah.
It was yesterday. Max Fried signs 8-year deal with the Yankees to become the highest paid left-handed pitcher in the game, $218 million.
They missed out on Juan Soto, but this is big. I mean, their pitching staff is stacked.
Oh, yeah.
They've got two very dominant lefties. Rodon's great, and then, Fried's really good. Their rookie that we were talking about him a few episodes ago, Luis Gil, is really good. Still got Cole, obviously. Yeah. He's not slowing down.
No, the Yankees are always going to be up there.
Biggest problem is their offense,
as just a Braves fan, I wish nothing but the best. I mean, he pitched great in the World Series against the Astros that year. So, to me, awesome. You got your bag, and we'll see you at the end of these 8 years on the back half of your career to come back and play for us, probably.
Maybe win a Cy Young.
Yeah, exactly. Another big one, we're going to kind of switch gears a little bit.
College football.
This one was
completely
crazy.
Out of left field.
Because even some of the players, there's been videos of former Patriot players and current Patriot players asking, what do you think Bill Belichick would be like on a college head coach level? And everyone's like, yeah, no, it won't work. I don't know how well the freaking Tar Heels, UNC Tar Heels, signed him to...
Interviewed him,
and supposedly he gave this huge, long laundry list of things he wants changed and done if he wants this.
Sounds exactly like Belichick.
This is crazy to me. I thought if he was going to do anything, he was going to be an NFL guy.
I thought so too.
And going to college now, having to...
This is crazy.
Dive in this...
He's like 70.
And the whole realm of the money, and I would
he brings back Saban to be his defensive
I don't know what he does. I seriously don't know what he does. I know there's jokes going around about his girlfriend is on.
If you have any doubts about how good this man is at recruiting, go ahead and take a look. That's all I gotta say.
This is great. But even like Tom Brady and Julian Edelman and Gronk talking about it on the Fox broadcast last week, and they were like, "Yeah, no, there's just." Jonathan Jones, one of our cornerbacks. So
no way.
I don't think anyone knows how this is going to go.
I'm very curious.
Curious to see. Bill Belichick coaching college was not on my bingo card for this next upcoming year.
Ever.
Though, this shows what's going on though with the NFL. It also shows what's going on with college football. Think about it. Belichick going to college because college has become basically the minor leagues to the NFL.
Maybe that's why he feels comfortable switching, because it really is just kind of...
It's the same thing.
Players are getting the same type of money.
But think about this, though. Now, what does it say about the NFL and about what they think about coaches? They want young coaches. They don't want a 70-year-old coach anymore.
I want to say close to half of the coaches in the NFL are under 50.
It's getting there.
That's crazy.
It's I mean, and like
youth movement.
Like he just said, you want that young, offensive-minded coach now. Mm-hmm. That's just kind of what that's what I want. I didn't want Gerard Mayo. I wanted a young-minded, like the Dolphins got, like a Sean McVay, like some of these guys that you see. The offensive coordinator for the Lions is going to get offered a lot of these
35.
jobs. Yeah, so that's just kind of what you want. Mm-hmm. And to your point, I think it probably is a little bit easier now for Belichick in the college realm but I can just hear him like, I'm not giving you any money. If you want to play for my school, you gotta earn it. Like, so I don't know. It's gonna be very, very interesting. And me just being the Patriots fan,
that's a pretty good Belichick voice.
Did you like that?
If you he's going to be like, we're on to, it's no Cincinnati. We're on to the Georgia Bulldogs.
Look, we really need to beat UNC State this weekend, and I seriously need you. Yeah, so it's going to be it's going to be very interesting.
Maybe that's why college, because you said youth movement in the NFL. Maybe it's kind of switching, because there were a lot of young coaches in college. Maybe this is where the old guys go to get those college kids whipped up into shape. And then they go to the NFL to learn, the ins and outs and all that.
Maybe it's gonna be very interesting.
I hope he actually I hope they actually hire him because
I do too.
This is a big story.
It'd be awesome for the memes too of just.
I think he'd look good in Carolina blue.
Yeah, I think everyone looks good in Carolina.
Rock a
blue.
Carolina hoodie, dude.
Yeah, no. Right?
Don't forget about the lacrosse connection though too.
Yes.
Belichick's a lacrosse guy, and there's a connection there.
You would know about this.
Yeah, what's his name? The coach's name?
Petra Lama.
Dave Petramala. His son plays for UNC lacrosse.
Belichick's son?
No.
Petramala's
son, and him and Petramala have been friends for a long, long time when it comes to the lacrosse side of things.
Maybe.
So maybe that also plays a little bit into why a school like this would even be considered or be attractive.
I bet we'll find out soon whether or not he
will.
takes the job.
I'm sure
not soon after New Year's. The regular season's already over for college, so
yeah.
There are teams that aren't in a bowl game or anything like that are starting to move towards next year. So we could see something as soon as next week.
As soon as probably this afternoon, if it really.
The second we post this episode, boom, head coach. This news is old now.
College football, though, the final bracket came out.
Big news is Bama gets left out.
I know a lot of people are probably happy about that because they felt like they shouldn't be in last year.
Take a look at the Georgia ornament on that tree over there.
I have a little bit I see both sides of it. Two things can be true. I think Bama, the record they had against top teams, the record they had against teams that were over 500 spoke for itself.
Yeah.
But again, like I said last week, you lost two very important games towards
bad teams.
One big important game towards the end of the year to a bad team.
You didn't even look like you belonged
when
in
you
that
were
game.
Multiple touchdown favorite and you lost by multiple touchdowns,
like 21 points.
So I think that took into consideration. But SMU though.
SMU deserved it just off that fourth quarter they showed.
Yes.
Because they competed with, the ACC champion. They were a player or two away from being at least going to overtime and seeing if they could win it in overtime. They just gave it up.
So
on
if
SMU
drive. Doesn't have that comeback in the fourth quarter,
no, they don't make it.
Do you think they make it still, or Bama gets in?
No, Bama makes it.
Yeah.
The reason that SMU is in is because of that second half in general.
Yeah,
they showed that they belong. They came back.
I agree.
Resilient, and half of what Alabama needed happened. They needed SMU to lose.
Yeah.
But Georgia won. They needed Georgia to lose. If Georgia loses it to Texas at all, doesn't matter how close it was, Bama gets in. That's what I think. And so because Georgia won, I think Georgia was the one that ended up keeping Bama out of the playoffs, not SMU. Because Clemson ended up winning. That was something that that Bama was hoping wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
All these games though were awesome.
Yeah. So to run down the list of how it ended up shaking out,
4 bye weeks.
So this is the playoff order, not the ranking.
This is
so
the
obviously
4 bye weeks and then the 5 through 12 seeds.
Yes. So Oregon gets the 1, Georgia gets the 2, Boise gets the 3, Arizona 4, Texas 5, Penn State 6, Notre Dame 7, Ohio State 8, Tennessee 9, 10 Indiana, 11 SMU, 12 Clemson. So
many good matchups.
When you saw the bracket though, I mean, because we're filling out our brackets.
The 5 and the 6 seed.
The 5 and the 6 seed are so good. The 6th seed I think is my favorite.
Penn State.
To where if you're Penn State,
you play Boise, right?
If I told
or
you
Arizona
that
State.
I was playing, no, they play SMU first game in Penn State. Good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck, SMU. And then you get to turn around and go play Boise. Instead of playing in Oregon, instead of playing at Tennessee, instead of playing at Georgia. I mean, if I was Penn State, I'm looking at this going, sweet, let's go. We got two very, very winnable games in our favor for our first 2 games to just kind of right into the semifinal.
Who wants the bye week at this point?
Well, so this is my argument. So I've been talking all year about how great this is, of adding teams, of just the landscape, and it is.
But now it's not enough.
So
we need more.
No. The one this is also true. The one flaw I am seeing now, though, of where they messed up, is the same way that
the bye weeks.
Not the bye weeks. I like the bye weeks. It's how these teams have been seeded in the NCAA March Madness tournament. Conference winners get automatic bids. That doesn't mean they're a 1, 2, 3, or 4 seed, though.
Yeah.
So to me, I look at Boise State and Arizona State and go, okay, Texas is still better than both those teams.
Yes.
Penn State, probably better than both those teams. Ohio State, Tennessee, probably better than both those teams. So why it's cool to give them an automatic bid because you have to reward conference winners in order for this thing to truly work. So do that. but that doesn't mean that they automatically get a bye or get one of these top seeds just because they win their conference. And so that way, I still think it rewards both. It rewards your conference winners to still be competitive in these other conferences that's not the SEC or Big Ten, but it also rewards having a tough, hard schedule. Because now, if this is the case, some of these teams like Tennessee, or I know everyone's been joking, they're not going to schedule hard out-of-conference teams because they have such because they play in the SEC. So there's no point because they know it's just going to hurt them at the end of the year. But if you kind of do it to where they get an automatic bid, but they don't get one of those top seeds, you still keep both aspects alive. You reward your conference champions because they're conference champion, but you also reward having a hard, tough schedule for these SEC teams, for these Big Ten teams, for the top dogs. So that's how I think when I look at it, this is all done and the bracket's set, nothing can get changed. This is how I think you make it better instead of, like you said, adding, to 16 or 24 teams.
Yeah, and neither of these teams made it, but I think it's ironic that they're playing each other in the Alamo Bowl now, is Colorado and BYU, which I will be tuning into that game because that's.
I think it's funny too. Everyone's like, I ain't never seen a Heisman winner play in the Alamo Bowl. So,
which is our next
subject. We'll get into Heisman finalists. I'll let you kind of name them off. They got released a couple days ago.
Yeah, it's just got released, and we predicted this. I think pretty much most people could have predicted this. It wasn't very hard this year. There were really only 4 players that are deserving, or even close.
There's one guy that I think is left off this list that maybe deserved it, but I'll let you say it for
Travis Hunter is minus 2,500 to win the Heisman. That's a heavy favorite, which is kind of crazy because I've been flipped after that Boise State game. I think Ashton Jeanty deserves it. I really do. He's the only reason that they're in the playoffs right now. And I think both players have a case. I still think co-Heismans could be a possibility, even though it's never happened. But Jeanty is plus 1,000, and then you've got Dylan Gabriel and Cam Ward both at plus 25,000, so they're just kind of there to be recognized for their abilities this season, but not what Hunter and Jeanty are doing.
So
it's a 2-man race.
I think these are 4 really, really good ones.
Oh yeah,
Travis Hunter and Jeanty. I think everyone knew it was going to come down to this. The one that I will say that had a pretty good year is the running back out of Arizona State.
Yeah,
I think he is one that could have very easily snuck in and maybe been
he's going to be a steal. I said this when we were watching that game in our group chat for the podcast. He's going to be a steal in the draft. Wherever he goes, he's going to be such a stud.
He's very quick. He's very physical. He can catch the ball as well.
Yep.
I haven't watched a ton of him, but
I was able to. I mean, there's only really a few comparisons that you can give to this guy for obvious reasons, but he kind of reminds me of a bulkier McCaffrey almost. Like a more downfield runner version of him. Yeah. Which
for a team,
the right team drafts him.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be like the Jamar Gibbs draft to where everyone was like, "Why are you doing this?" And now
taking
look
him
at
like
it
11.
now.
Yeah. Well,
I'm not going to say he's a first rounder, but he's going to get drafted by a team where it's like, really? Why
I could see him going day 2 now. Especially, he's got more time to perform. This is why the playoffs are better for lesser schools and smaller schools in general. Now they have a bigger platform where you're going to see players like this get drafted higher and higher for years to come because of this. They're going to start turning up in important games on a national stage, and it's going to help them a lot. As a fan, I can't wait to see
the other part that kind of sucks too is all these bowl games got announced, and even this transfer portal stuff of kids on teams who are playing in the playoffs still, saying already gone, or I just. Then
contracts,
it is a huge problem when it comes to. I mean, there needs to be some type of deadline.
Contracts,
and I see more and more people talking about that now. To where we were we
got laughed off.
We did, and we were like, "Oh, they're kids."
They're now after a year.
Brother, these guys aren't kids anymore. They got agents taking 20% of their total earnings. I saw yesterday the South Carolina defensive end got a $1.3 million deal to stay at South Carolina.
Why do you think I'm going into the sports agency realm? That's where the money is, especially with college players being able to make money.
Like
now.
it's just it's insane what is happening and what is being allowed too. Like again, I'll bring up Belichick. If you went to Belichick 3 weeks before your bowl game
transferred,
and you walked into his office What do you mean you're transferring? We got a bowl game to prepare for.
He'd probably be like, okay, bye.
Like, yeah,
I don't think he'd care.
but you know what I mean, though? It's like, I don't know how you that's like putting in your 3 weeks notice of your job, knowing you're going to quit, and then you just half-ass everything.
Right before your performance evaluations, you tell your boss you're quitting.
So to me, it just shows that everyone truly is out for themselves.
Huh?
No one cares about being a part of, if you're not the main
Program,
guy,
team.
if you're not contributing, and no one cares anymore.
I wonder if Ryan Williams is going to transfer. Alabama.
I don't know. I know they lost one big 5-star, and I heard he's taking a trip to Colorado. He played for Carrollton.
Go figure.
The quarterback that Colorado just signed, the 5-star out of Carrollton.
Mm-hmm.
And they played with each other, last year. He was a senior last year, and then, the quarterback's senior this year. So, but then there's that too, to where all these guys talk, and all these guys are, hey, what if we go play here? What if we go do this? So, it's turned into the wild, wild west of money, and there's got to be regulations. And I know there's stuff that's been talked about, and I know signing day has been pushed back for this reason, for transfers, and there's got to be some type of contract. There's got to be some.
There's going to be a national transfer day years down the road.
Yeah.
And it's going to be just as big of a deal.
But I'd rather have it be that and have it be like 2 days of this is your window to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't do it and you don't go anywhere, you're stuck. You're stuck where you are, where you committed in the first place.
Well, guys, that's the problem with this whole thing, because you've got players that are now, they can read depth charts. Like, they know if they're going to play, and they want to play. They know that this is minor league football now, so they're going to transfer to whoever will pay them so they can play.
That's why I give Dion so much credit, because we talked about a few weeks ago, again, that his recruiting technique and style is going to be what all of college football turns into. And he's ahead of the curve. He's been doing it for 2 years at this point. Players are just going to keep flocking to him because he started this movement. He's going to the entire time, his recruiting, if we recruit you, you're going to play. If we want you, it's because we think you're good enough to play. And that drives players to come and, want to prove themselves. If I can play for Dion, then I can obviously play for an NFL team. That's what I think the mindset is for these college students.
They have to fix, though, when the portal opens and when these people can talk to other coaches, because think about this. So when you look at FCS football, okay, the old Division I AA, FCS, Championship Series, they currently have 24 teams that go into the playoffs. Now, 8 of those teams get a first-round bye. And like Dawson said, you don't get, just because you won a conference doesn't mean you're a number 1 seed, that it doesn't work like that. The best teams get the byes. And they do this, and it's been working for a long time. I'm a Montana Grizzly fan. This is what the Grizz have, they've won championships in this bracket and this format. So I think it's only a matter of time before FBS goes to the FCS model.
I don't know why they didn't just in the first place. It's why make your own thing when this is clearly working?
Yeah, because it has worked for a long, long time.
Yeah.
It was the bowl money, and it was the money in the game. That's why they didn't do it.
I'm sure we'll see.
But you can still tie the bowls to all these games. That's what they're doing this year. They're tying, and I think the home game is really cool for the first round of the playoffs, of having a home game at Penn State or having a home game at Ohio State, or
the atmospheres are going to be
the atmosphere is going to be awesome. But you could still tie all the games to that. You could still, the money will still be there. People are going to watch regardless of where it is, of what it's called, of what, So, but it is making a very, very slippery, weird, wild, wild west dynamic of this part of football, of college football. It's not going to go away. They've made it very clear it's not going to go away. They opened up this can of worms. They're going to have to deal with it, and they're going to have to try to fix it and try to regulate it. So it will be interesting to see, because I know there are talks of stuff changing and stuff being more, controlled and whatever you want to call it. But for everyone who they're college athletes, they're kids, let them. It's not what it is anymore.
Nope.
It's not what it is anymore.
No.
If it was truly their kids and let's just let them play football, none of this would have happened in the first place.
Yep. Exactly. It's got to get changed eventually.
It's got to get changed.
It will.
It will. I think it will too. It might take a couple years, but I think it will. NFL Week 14 recap.
Good week.
There was A lot of good games.
First one.
Lions, Packers, first one Thursday night. Came down to a very competitive.
The absolute wire.
Everyone knew. I think this was going to be this type of game, high scoring, division rivals.
Jaden Reed was going to put up 0 points.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. I thought St. Brown also kind of stood on business when it came to the Packers secondary, saying we don't know who you are and we don't. Well, that kind of.
I will say this though. For the Lions' sake in the playoffs, I almost wish that fourth down had failed so that Dan Campbell could see exactly what he's playing with, which is very, very, very hot fire.
I heard someone say, just because you hit, if you're playing blackjack.
This man gambles.
Someone described it perfectly. He said, you're sitting on 17 in blackjack. Just because you hit, and you hit a 3 or a 4 and you get 21 doesn't mean you need to do it every time. Because there's a good chance you're going to get a face card and you're going to bust and you're screwed and you can't go back.
Based off how they lost in the playoffs last year, yes, I get it. This is a huge game. This clinched the NFC North for them. I think it clinched the playoffs or the NFC North for them.
I think it clinched the playoffs. I don't think it clinched.
Oh, obviously not, because the Vikings are still winning. But it's Jesus, dude. It just. Yes, it almost failed. They went for it on fourth down. They were in field goal territory, and then Goff trips and then is down on the ground and barely gets the ball up to Montgomery, and they just get the first. And then they kick the field goal. But like I said, I wish almost for the Lions' sake that it had failed so that Dan Campbell would have this in the back of his head for the playoffs when they're in a situation like this that realistically any decision, any points put away the game. But you decide that for pride reasons – and because I'm not a, you know what, I'm getting this first down.
That's some big balls, though. I'll give
massive, biggest I've ever seen.
I give him credit, but I do agree to where we saw this happen last year. Yeah, they did it. They didn't kick the field goal to go up 3 scores.
The Niners beat them,
and the Niners beat them. I mean, the Lions have been, I think, one of the most fun teams to watch this year.
I want them to win this year, and I don't want them to lose because of something like this
stupid
again.
Like this. Yes, I agree. Packers, though, I think the Packers are a great team. They have a great offense. They can run the ball. They've got weapons. Even though Reed had 0 targets.
Jacobs had 3 touchdowns.
He did. They were able to capitalize on some turnovers. Jared Goff had I know he had 1 interception. Did he have I can't remember if he had 2, but I know he had 1 that turned into points. But the Packers are going to be up there. We saw. I mean, but yeah, the Lions. I really hope that they don't do this in the playoffs because I want to see them succeed. I want to see them win.
On the other side, though, imagine if Love had never gotten hurt because he got hurt week 1.
Yeah,
and they were winning with Malik Willis. Yeah, but I wonder where the Packers would be if he had never tweaked anything, didn't tweak that groin later in the season.
They'd probably be 11-2, 10 and somewhere up there fighting for the division.
Man, this division is so insane.
Well, you called it at the beginning of the year, though.
Best division in football.
Called it at the beginning. Next one, Jets Dolphins. Quickly going to this one.
Dolphins came back. This game. If they lost this game, it's very hard for them to make the playoffs. But they won. The Jets are officially eliminated. Miami is alive, and they needed overtime to do it against a really bad team.
Yeah, and I will say
Tyreek looked good though.
I will say though the Jets' offense looked pretty good.
They did.
Devontae Adams, Garrett Wilson,
Breece Hall didn't play.
Hall didn't play. Yes, they had the rookie Allen step in. But I thought this was the first game to where it was like, dang, you have Garrett Wilson and Devontae Adams on the same team. Like this is pretty scary because it seemed like if it wasn't going to Devontae Adams, it was going to Wilson. If it wasn't going to Wilson, it was going to Adams. And it was just back and forth.
Imagine if they had a real off season together and not a bunch of darkness retreats and trips to Egypt instead of going to training camp.
Documentary's coming out, though. We're going to be able to see it all on Netflix. I think it comes out like December 13th or something, like very, very close. So that will be...
when I graduate, that's Friday.
I'm definitely tuning into that.
Jeez.
Tyreek Hill, though, Jalen Waddle, they did their thing.
Jalen Waddle's
Smith
been back.
Had 0 catches, 0 yards, 4 quarters, overtime,
13 points,
3 catches, and the touchdown to end it.
Crazy.
It was a.
Chris, what do we think about Tua since he's come back off of IR? He's been pretty good.
Listen, Tua keeps proving. He's proven to everybody that he's a great quarterback, and I know
which we knew.
I know that a lot of people, knock on him, and I'll admit, I mean, I get frustrated when you have an offense the way Miami does. You have to have a good backup.
Yep.
And they don't have a quality backup.
Nope.
So when Tua went down, obviously it hurt our team. I'm frustrated now. I don't know if I want them to win or lose. It's great to know they can
You're
win.
in a
but
really
I want a better
weird
draft
spot.
pick.
Because, like, you're a few losses away from missing the playoffs, and you're also a few losses away from having a better draft pick. So it's like, which do I want more? Like, do you think they have if they make the playoffs? I mean, there's always that chance that they have to go to play a cold weather team, which pretty much just counts.
I don't want to hear about the cold weather. Come on. I don't care what the statistics say. I believe we can win in cold weather. I mean, look at Tyreek Hill. He played for the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Right? He played for the Chiefs all those years. I mean,
his blood's real thin now, though, living in Miami. That's for sure.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens, but I believe
we'll see.
I don't know that we're going to make.
I'm sure we will see.
I don't know that we're going to make the playoffs, but it's been an interesting season to say the least, and I look forward to next season.
Next one, Falcons Vikings.
What happened to Kirk, man?
Kirk Cousins' homecoming. It started off really good though. He had it tied 21-21. Falcons were getting the ball back.
Then the Falcons' defense and Kirk's interceptions caught up to him.
They fumbled the kick return. That turned into points.
Yeah.
And then it just went downhill from there.
They just collapsed. And they lost first place with this game. We were talking about it last week. They needed to stay one game ahead of the Bucs. Not even that. They just needed to stay tied, and they couldn't even do that. Now you're fighting an uphill battle.
We've been saying this, too, to where if you lost this division with the lead you had,
it's your fault.
It's a total, colossal failure collapse. We're literally seeing it.
We're like, this is a topic for when we're talking about NFL news, moving on, but Kyle Pitts has been completely removed from the game plan. Kirk Cousins, after he had it 21-21, horrible. And the Falcons defense is just not good enough to compete.
I will say, though, they are, the past couple games, they've had a good bit of sacks.
That's true, but it's like they're not good at the same time. It's like either their secondary is good and they're not getting sacks, which is kind of weird because if their secondary is good, you would think it would lead to more sacks. So that's weird. And then now they're getting sacks and the secondary is playing bad. That also doesn't make sense because if you're getting sacks, then the secondary doesn't have to cover for that long.
Yeah.
I mean, the Vikings are stacked. I mean, Hawkinson, Jones, Addison
had 3 touchdowns. Jefferson had 2.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was a crazy game for them. But this also...
Darnold had 5 touchdowns.
Darnold's awesome.
He's going to get paid this offseason. I'm very curious to see where he ends up.
I mean, that team right now, they can run the ball well, like you just mentioned. They have a ton of weapons, and the defense has, I think, been the backbone of that team.
And the offensive line is so good.
Yes.
They've got 2 great tackles. They're going to be a really interesting team. Someone that nobody thought was going to be good this year, and now they're arguably a top 3 team in the NFC.
I agree.
Arguably a top 3 team in the league right now, with how they're playing.
With how they're playing, it's hard not to. Panthers, Eagles. This one was that huge, like, 3-point
there was a better that put
bet.
To win. He put like $3.1 million on the Eagles to beat the Panthers to win like $400K.
Yeah, I think it was like
which is like for someone like us, it's like betting $100 to win like $10. Something like that. And the Panthers almost ruined this guy's day.
This is now
Xavier Legette so close.
I know
having that touchdown.
This is what 2-3 weeks in a row that the Panthers have really shown some life.
Bryce Young's showing you why you should not trade him, apparently. You give him an O-line, because the O-line's been playing good. The run game's been solid. Sucks that Jonathan Brooks tore his ACL again, though. That's been confirmed. He tore the same one that he did in college.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
So he's going to be out for a while, but they just paid Chuba, so there's that. I like the receiving core. They're really... I know we trashed on them a lot this season, but there are way worse teams than the Panthers. I know their record doesn't necessarily show it, but there are a couple.
The Bears.
Yeah, God. But yeah, there are a couple of close games away from having like 5 or 6 wins.
To quickly touch on the Eagles, though, I know this was kind of a big thing with their quarterback and AJ Brown coming out and saying are passing. So to me,
you're winning.
To me, you are on like an 9-game win streak.
Yep.
And you're gonna sit here and complain when your running back right now is on a heater. I mean, there's MVP type level stuff, and you're gonna just sit here and complain about to the media at least. I mean, I see one thing going into the film room and going, "Hey, like I'm open." Like, we need to hit that stuff. Like, this is this type of plays we're going to need to make in the playoffs. And, if they make it to the Super Bowl, they make it to the NFC Championship game. but to just sit there like a little like spoiled brat of we're on a 9-game win streak, but I'm not getting the ball enough.
Did you see? I feel like the media kind of blew it over a little bit because did you see that AJ Brown? You know, like the whole Batman thing they do,
he
like
put
skinny Batman. He changed his profile picture to the Joker,
which is probably true because they do. But that's my point to where you don't do that to the media.
No.
Like you go to Jalen Hurts on Monday and go, "Hey, dude,
I'm open.
Like can we watch some film or with your receiver coach, with your offensive coordinator, whatever it is." These plays are open. Just trust me, throw the ball. I promise I'm going to catch it or I'm going to make my best effort to do it. But to just do it this is like what, the third or fourth time that this is what happened last year to where all of a sudden they went on that 6-game skid at the end of the year and kind of collapsed the same way the Falcons are doing this year.
This was right around that time too. They were like 10-2.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden it just everything fell apart and this stuff was happening. So I don't agree with what he did to that situation. And you can play into, oh, well, I'm the Joker. Everyone makes me out to be the bad guy. Well, you kind of did it to yourself, dude. Yeah. Like you painted that picture for everyone. So the Eagles, though, I still think they're a great team. Saquon Barkley, MVP talks. Josh Allen
deserves it. After, we'll get about that later. I think Josh Allen won the MVP.
Yeah, what he did, even though someone said it's crazy that you lose a game, but your MVP odds go up. And that was Josh Allen this week. But that's later on the list. To quickly run through the rest, Seahawks, Cardinals. We talked about this one.
Sole possession of first place now because they beat the Cardinals. The Rams are right behind them,
and the Cardinals kind of laid another egg when we said that they really they needed to finish this game
against another division.
And they started off so good. The first drive, they marched down, scored a touchdown. Their defense, I think, and they just kind of fizzled out.
The defense let up too many big plays. Yeah. Early on, it's right off the bat, and Njigba scored within the first few minutes. Yeah. And then from that, they were just fighting uphill the whole game. And it got out of hand. It wasn't this bad for the whole way. Charbonnet.
If you picked up Charbonnet off your waivers and played him.
Enjoy the fantasy playoffs.
I think I picked him up in one of my leagues of a team that was already in the playoffs, but I had Kenneth Walker. And it was an amazing pickup for me just to solidify my playoff spot. The Cardinals, they fizzled out, but the Seahawks, another team that no one, especially in that division with the 49ers.
Most people had the 49ers and the Rams. And the Cardinals were at the bottom, same with the Seahawks. But Seahawks, 8-5.
Impressive.
It's weird looking at their record and thinking it's just because they've had offensive line issues all season long. And notably center, which is probably, other than tackles, maybe the most important. But it's just,
that's very loud.
Let's just stop there for a second. That's literally going right over.
Whoa.
That was very loud.
So you'll probably notice a cut. We just had a military helicopter go over the studio. That was very interesting.
That was very close.
But it's the Seahawks. Really impressive thing. I mean, the offense is great. If the offensive line can keep up, I don't think they're making it to the NFC Championship, but they're in the playoffs. I think they're one of the best 7 teams in the NFC for sure.
Yeah, I agree. And battling out in that division, you deserve a spot. Bears, 49ers.
Can we skip this?
We can if you would like.
I don't know. The 49ers are very alive still. I think I'll say that. They destroyed us. And for what I thought was going to be, kind of like last year when the Raiders fired Josh McDaniels and then went out and scored 60, this did not happen. This really, it's very discouraging. Kind of makes me feel like I was right about wanting to reset at GM too, because this organization needs a facelift. It's ugly. It's really ugly. This is a game where you show your pride. Be like, yeah, it wasn't us. We really are good. We can play with the best teams, or at least a competitive team. But no, this whole thing resembles culture issues, and it's just the hardest thing to fix on any team, really. And I don't know.
I'd say too, it was maybe a little bit of a trap game for the Bears, because the 49ers got pretty embarrassed against the Bills the week before, and a team like the 49ers, that's not going to happen to them 2 weeks in a row, two games in a row.
No.
So you can kind of say that, but the Bears just have not played very good.
They might not win another game all year, which honestly wouldn't be the worst thing.
At this point, it's not.
I don't want them to win another game. We got a very tough schedule moving forward. It's our most winnable game is against the Seahawks. That's it. We still play the Vikings, Packers, and Lions each once. And so Top offensive lineman. That's what I want in the draft. Top offensive lineman or a stud, that Penn State edge rusher. That's who I want. That's my very short list for the draft. But other than that, on to next season. It sucks. The 49ers, though, with their running backs, they've got like 4 guys out.
Yeah.
Christian McCaffrey's on IR. Jordan Mason's on IR. Garendo just got hurt.
Yeah.
It's
just been a
they
season.
can't catch a break.
Yeah,
Madden curse. Madden curse.
Yeah.
But
Bills Rams. This game was,
of the
I
year.
think, game of the year.
Yeah,
it was the highest scoring game of the year so far. Josh Allen, like we said, he
This was
improved his MVP campaign, even with a loss. I mean, his odds went up. Crazy enough. This also just shows to the Rams of
the Rams offense.
The Rams,
Oh my
when they are
God.
firing on all cylinders and they can run the ball and they can pass
Kind of
the
looks
ball.
like that 1 seed that you were talking about very highly of. At the
I
start
wouldn't
of the
say
year.
1 seed, but I would say they do have a better record than the 49ers. They play each other this week. They've already beat the 49ers.
They play each other Thursday.
I hope they beat them again, just so I can kind of that'd be pretty cool. But yeah, no,
you
I
just
mean,
told me who you're picking for one of those primetime games.
the Rams, yeah, that one was a hard one too. The Rams, though, I mean, Matthew Stafford is
One of the best QBs in the league.
He really is.
Give this man his respect.
And their receivers are amazing. Puka is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Cooper Kupp is just Mr. Reliable.
Mm-hmm.
Their running backs are great.
Kyron,
This team is very, very, very good when they're hitting on all cylinders.
Their defense is so young. Their defensive line. It's Jared Verse, Braden Fisk. They're all, and then Kobe Turner. They drafted last year. Jeez.
Yeah.
Dawson, how did Puka catch that ball on the sideline?
toe tap.
You're a receiver. You know what it is to high point a ball. How did he do that?
That made Tom Brady almost pass out in the booth.
It did. I thought he was out when I first saw it.
What a catch.
I mean, and he's done this, he did this all last year. He's been hurt a couple times this year, so not too much. But Puka's great. And he makes, these are the type of catches you have to make in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And he's doing it.
I don't even think he was looking at the ball.
It was amazing. It was awesome. And he had another huge performance, 100+ yards.
41 points.
He had the touchdown at the end to kind of seal it.
Yep.
So, Puka's awesome. That whole team's awesome. Sean McVay is a great coach, like we've mentioned.
There's no way in hell that he leaves LA, but I saw a mock trade where the Bears trade their first pick this year for McVay. No, he's not leaving LA.
No, he's not leaving.
He's built a squad there. This team is going to be good for a while.
Oh yeah.
They're going to need to get another quarterback at some point.
Yeah.
Stafford's not going to be there forever.
Yeah. Next one, Chargers Chiefs. The voodoo magic kicked in again.
Taylor Swift is up in the booth
on Doinkin, the game-winning field goal.
Spell. It's
to end it. Now I will say, the Chargers let him in that situation.
What I need, because Matt Nagy is the offensive coordinator for the Chiefs, he went back to them after we fired him. I need to see a still shot of Nagy's face when the kick doinked and went in. I need to see his reaction.
That's funny.
But another game that the Chiefs should have lost.
The Chiefs they linger. They linger long enough. Their defense keeps them in it long enough to give the ball back to Mahomes.
They are incapable of losing one-score games. It's just, we've been preaching about it all season.
So I saw a stat. They are, I think, either 15 or 16-0 in one-possession games the past couple years. At some point,
it's got to
the coin will flip on the other side.
Something's got to give.
I mean that's the odds of that is impossible.
Couple times without a certain officiating.
Well, you guys both know you both took statistics in college. Guess what? Statistics never fail.
It's impossible
at
for
some
them to
point.
be,
statistics will catch up to them.
Yeah.
Like it might not be this season. Not saying they're not going to win the Super Bowl. They very well could.
You're missing one part of the equation, though. That's given that it's there's fair odds. That's not taking into account that the NFL throws a flag every time they're about to lose. That's not what we're accounting. Because they would have like 3 or 4 losses, maybe more. Kyle Pitts. That's all. Kyle Pitts are the only 2 words that I need for week 3 of the season to prove what I'm saying.
Those Chiefs fans, though, in our group chats.
The Raiders fumble.
Yeah, the Chiefs fans that we have, though, I mean, you have no room to talk.
No,
you have no room to talk.
Absolutely,
it's absolutely.
It's got to a point where
how they
maybe
win.
As bad as the Patriots fans. Like for what? Like
it's worse.
How
I was never this bad.
No. I'm not saying like
as a
how
whole,
you were as a fan. I'm saying for how much they got benefited by just calls that could have gone either way, stuff like that. But obviously, outside looking in, a fan of not that team, you're going to be pissed and be like, that's BS.
Yeah.
It's getting to that point. It's
I think
really
it's
getting to that
past
point.
that point.
That point.
It's past that
all the
point.
people that are streaming though these games and then just watching some of their reactions and all the memes going around. It's real. Like it is just like you can't make it up.
Chiefs
like
hate.
Is there a script or not? There's got to be a script. There has to be.
I don't think there's a script. I think that there is a
can favor
desired
it.
outcome,
Yeah.
and if there is a chance to leverage it in a certain way, then they do. They do, and it's we've seen that plenty of times. Let's go back to 2017 when the Saints completely, had a offensive or not offensive. They had a pass interference in the playoffs. I know we remember the play that gave the Rams a Super Bowl bid and kept the Saints from the Super Bowl. And it's just stuff like that. It happens every once in a while, and it tends to line up with a certain betting odd every once in a while.
Well, they just broke a record that had been set in 1978 by the Houston Oilers. They now have won 10 games by 7 points or less. That's just wild.
And I think, and like I said, I think there's 16.
We saw a graphic. I saw a graphic last week that said it's like it flips the records of every team. If these one-score games went the other way, the Chiefs are 2-11.
Yeah.
Or no, 1-12.
Something like that.
2-11. 2-11.
Something like that. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Last game we'll touch, and this one we'll keep it short because these
Cowboys suck.
Cowboys suck. Bengals.
I will say I've never seen a team lose like that before, or at least blow a game like that. That blocked punt.
Yeah,
we were playing the game, and I looked left, and I saw it. I was like, oh, they just blocked a kick. And then I see him. I was like, no.
he just did that.
See, Dylan, you're too young to remember Leon Lett.
Yeah.
Oh, I've seen
Thanksgiving
the play, though. I know
Day,
what you're talking about.
same team, same team, same
runs the
thing
wrong
happened,
way.
and we won. That's right, Miami got the dub.
Yeah. So I will say, my only thing I'm gonna talk about this game.
Crazy. Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow.
There was a video that we made at the beginning of the year.
Yep.
I'll pop it up on the screen right now.
Mm-hmm.
Of me talking about how Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase would be the dominant duo this year for
Not
fantasy
just dominant,
football.
the best fantasy duo. And who is the best fantasy duo right now?
The best fantasy duo right now. If you had Jamar, it's ESPN puts it out because going into the playoffs. 50% of the teams that made the playoffs this year had Jamar Chase on the team.
And the 50% that didn't make it probably took a guy like, I don't know, who was a draft bust in the
first round.
First round.
No,
McCaffrey.
McCaffrey. Or
well, we're thinking about guys that you could have Jamar and this guy, and the reason you didn't make the playoffs is because you took the second guy.
Yeah,
and Jamar almost.
Well, like
got
if you
there
pick
on his own.
Jamar and Derrick Henry, or Jamar and Saquon Barkley, holy crap! Which was it was there. But what I was saying is, Jamar Chase is going to win the Triple Crown. Joe Burrow, if it wasn't for their record. Joe Burrow's the MVP right now.
I don't know. Josh Allen might still have it.
But it'd be them two fighting for it. And then you have Jamar Chase being the offensive player of the year as well.
Poor Joe Burrow, man. I just feel so bad for him. This is like, very rarely can you say that this is absolutely not the quarterback's fault, like at all, but it's literally not. And it's, honestly, you could say it's not even the offense's fault.
Their defense is terrible.
Their defense. So I was talking with Austin a few days ago, and because he was curious how, or maybe it was Jolty, but talking about how the Bengals have the 6th highest scoring offense in the league, and he was like, why is their record like this? And I was like, okay, go ahead and take a look at their scoring, like defensive scoring per game, and it's second worst.
Yeah,
that's a recipe for disaster. And Bengals fans, it's
Bengals are exactly what you just said about the Chiefs. Look at how many games they've lost. By 7.
1-point games, yeah.
You could flip it the other way, and they could be tops, and he could be MVP.
Yeah. Some people are saying he still deserves MVP, even with the record they have, which I don't know if I fully agree with that. I think Josh Allen kind of sealed it if he plays even half of what he did last week for the rest of the season. But Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase.
Well, especially if Josh Allen beats the Lions this week.
Yeah.
Like, how do you take the award away from him?
Yeah. If he does what he did and has to kind of play Superman like he did against the Rams, fell a little bit short, I think it's hard not to give it to him.
Yeah. But
other NFL, I know we kind of talked about Kirk Cousins, the 0 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. It's bad. He's making bad decisions. He looks very horrible. a lot of people around here, because I know we live in Atlanta, so we hear a ton of Atlanta talk. A lot of people are starting to ask for Penix, and I don't blame them. I don't. And I know I've been an advocate for Kirk Cousins, but at some point...
Well, it's like you're paying Kirk $180 million to lose your games and lead the league in interceptions and fumbles. And Penix is also eating away at his rookie deal, and he's also getting older. So it's like, this is like, when the Falcons drafted Penix, this was probably like their nightmare that they had in the back of their head. Like, okay, we're fine as long as this doesn't happen. This is happening.
Well, and for the first half of the year, it was great.
It was.
They were 4-0 in the division. Kirk Cousins was throwing for 500 yards, the game we were at. So, and that's why I was like, why did you take this quarterback when you could have taken someone to help you win now with the quarterback you signed?
I know.
But now it's kind of flipped.
Yeah.
So, and people are going to say, oh, see, this is why we did it. This is, I hear it, but at the same time, it's... Really? This is why you paid this guy, to where you should have just started Penix in the beginning and just...
Well, yeah. And on the other side, with the Vikings having J.J. McCarthy, it's kind of unrealistic to think that they'll re-sign Darnold, especially with how he's playing now. Darnold is going to make like $40 to $50 million a year. And so where is Sam Darnold going to go? You think he goes back to the Jets? But this is our next topic, so I don't think that that's a possibility.
I think he stays with the Vikings.
Vikings?
I mean, you got everything there. You have the
are they
best
going to pay him?
receiver in football.
They have to pay him. And now Jefferson paid. Addison's he's going to have to be paid soon. They've got a left tackle that I think they're going to have to
I don't know how
soon.
many years they signed Aaron Jones for.
Yeah, that too. It was a 1-year deal, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be a very interesting offseason. There's a lot of similar to last year.
Coaching changes and a lot of player changes.
Very similar to last year. It's going to be very fun to follow. And but we're just going back to the Bengals. We were talking about 1-score games. They have 7 games lost by 7 or less.
So you flip that, and you flip the Chiefs losing their games by 1 position. I
wonder how many of those games ended with the defense on the field and scoring to end the game. Yeah. But moving on to the next one, the Patriots are currently in position to draft Travis Hunter after the Jaguars upset the Titans on Sunday.
I love it.
Lose games. Lose games. That's all you need to do. If you lose, you have Travis Hunter.
So our last couple games, we play not Carolina. We play the Cardinals.
Yep.
We should lose to the Cardinals.
Hopefully.
We play the Chargers. We should lose to the Chargers. And then we play the Bills. I think we played the Bills twice in the last couple. We should lose all 4 of those games. So we should not. Yes, if it all works out, those teams should all beat us with how we are playing and how those teams are playing.
You need to stay ahead of the Panthers because right now, pick 1 is the Giants, pick 2 is the Raiders. Those
Do you think the Panthers go offense in the first round again, though?
Travis Hunter's both. Yeah. And they need secondary as well.
That's a good point.
Give the Raiders another win because they do play the Falcons this week.
Okay, so we'll get there. But the Falcons playing the Raiders. Guess who the starting quarterback is? Because O'Connell is
Desmond
out.
Ridder revenge
Desmond Ridder revenge game against the Falcons. That would be the funniest, most Atlanta Falcon thing in the history. Losing to the quarterback that they hated last year, Desmond Ridder.
The DoorDash driver.
So, we'll get there but the last one, the Jets.
Reportedly drafting a quarterback in this year's draft, because I was talking about how Sam Darnold could potentially go to them, but not if this. Does anyone forget about Jordan Travis?
Yeah.
They just took him. So I don't know if they don't like what they see from him, but I mean, he hasn't gotten any chance at all to play. He was nursing that.
And you're sitting behind Rodgers, let him. I mean, it can
but
be
realistically, if they're drafting a quarterback, who falls to them? Because you got to think Ward and Shador are going 1 and 2. Then are you stuck with Carson Beck? Are you going to make that mistake?
You get the guy from Missouri.
Is Jackson Dart coming out?
Jackson Dart will probably come out. So but the Jets.
That's a very weak quarterback class outside of the top
Jets
2.
are. I mean,
they've got players. They just
don't have a team.
No. The Jets.
So week 15, we're going to quickly run through these games.
There's so many. Look at the list of these games and how many games have playoff implications. There are a lot of great ones. All of them.
Thursday Night Football. This is a huge one. Division, man, for me, kind of personally.
This is your pride game.
This is
your legacy game
of everything that was said about me. Rams 49ers. Rams, baby, let's go. I got the Rams.
I'm backing you.
I got the Rams. I love the Rams, how they're playing right now. It is at, at 49ers, so that will play a little
they're
bit.
They're both in California, so it's,
but I love the Rams offense. The 49ers defense has just they've played very poorly this whole year. Their offense has been so inconsistent.
The Rams come back, or what was it? It was the Cardinals, I think. The Rams beat them earlier this year, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is round 2.
So I got the Rams. They literally just went toe to toe with Josh Allen. Had to score over 40 points to win. Yep. One of the best teams. Give me the Rams.
Yep. I'm with you. I am absolutely with you. I don't think the Rams are riding high, and I think they end up winning that division. I think they end up having a top seed. It's outside of what you got: the Lions, Eagles. Give me the Rams.
Packers. I throw the Packers, even though they'll probably be in the wild card. Yeah,
it's crazy finish to the year. But moving on to the next one: Dolphins, Texans. Another game. Dolphins can't lose. Dolphins cannot.
If they
lose.
Want to make the playoffs, they can't lose this.
The Texans are getting a little bit healthier. Little bit. I don't know if Collins is back. But
their safety that got suspended is out for 3 games starting.
Oh, he's a linebacker.
Linebacker.
I'll show you.
I know he plays. He plays all over the field. So
yeah, Chris, what do we think? Or it's Dolphins, Texans. I mean, you're in a dome, so it's big Tyreek Hill game. The Texans have a decent defense though, good pass rush. Does Tua die today or on Sunday?
Dolphins W.
Dolphins. Tua doesn't die on Sunday.
Doesn't die on Sunday.
Okay.
Not this Sunday.
Well, Danielle,
this Sunday. Bucks Chargers. This is
another one.
This is a great one for the Chargers because they've got to continue to win to keep that wild card.
The Bucks do too.
And the Bucks need this one to not only stay ahead of the Falcons for the division, but also for the wild card. And right now the Bucks just got to win. If they win, they're in no matter what the division says for against the Falcons. The Bucks are playing great with less. They've had a ton of injuries. I think Baker's been an awesome story this year. He's proven that he's a great quarterback in this league.
Chargers look good too. I think Ladd was banged up.
Yeah, he didn't play.
Oh, he didn't play.
Ladd didn't even play against the Chiefs.
Really? Well, yeah. Okay, so even more. Chargers should win this game, but they just got to get healthy before the playoffs. They need to get Dobbins back. They need Ladd back completely healthy, and then all that. It's
next one: Colts Broncos. Broncos have been playing great.
Good one.
Bo Nix has been playing outstanding.
See if Anthony Richardson, because this is a really tough defense.
This is.
See what Anthony Richardson does.
I like the Broncos, though. I do
too.
We're not picking this one, obviously, because it's not prime time. But the Broncos' defense, I think, is good enough. Their coaching, I think, is better than what the Colts have over there.
Yes.
So I like the Broncos in this one. This one, though.
Game of the week.
I believe this is the highest total of the year out of any game.
It was like 54 points,
It was
right?
54 and a half, I think. Bills Lions. Bills at the Lions.
At the Lions indoors. Oh, this game's going to be like 50 to 45
I hope it is. I hope it is. For betting purposes, for a lot of things.
I'm watching this entire game.
This game is going, and it sucks it's not prime time, but it is in a 4 o'clock slot. So there's only a couple games on at 4 o'clock. So this is probably the one.
We have so many, like the other 4 o'clock games. Steelers at Eagles.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to be flipping every time there's a commercial break. All right, back to this game, back to this game.
Yeah.
Steelers, Eagles, I don't know who wins this game. It's like 2 powerhouses, seriously.
Well, now I will say, too, the Eagles, with the struggles they've had on offense to what some people would say in the building, this will get tested against the Steelers
apparently
defense.
Pickens isn't playing again, too, with his hamstring injury.
Yeah.
So that's big. That's really big.
For a secondary for the Eagles that is already very good, to where the receivers on the Steelers outside of Pickens have kind of
Calvin Austin has been better. Mike Williams hasn't been there long. He's still got to get acclimated, and obviously he's only 1 year removed from an ACL. So it's going to be a great game. Both of these 4 o'clock games, I'm not going to be able to take my eyes off
for betting purposes and just for quality of NFL football.
Good Sunday night game too. Like what? We're picking this one. Packers Seahawks. I'm taking the Packers.
Seahawks. I'm going the Packers as well. Yeah. This was one I saw to where yes, the Seahawks have been playing very, very well. But the Packers, to me, are just coming off that loss of the Lions.
Oh, they're pissed. 10 days rest. Too.
Yeah, the Packers, I like in this one, even being the away team. Jordan Love's playing good. Running back, 3 touchdowns. And their secondary, like we've mentioned, is very good at getting interceptions. Geno Smith has kind of been a little bit
he's
gunslinger mentality.
Passing for a lot of yards, but he's throwing a lot of picks.
Yeah,
still.
so I like the Packers in this one. I wouldn't be surprised if they get a couple interceptions and turn those interceptions into points the way they did against the Lions.
Monday Night Football. We got 2 Monday night games. Both of them are kind of
Yeah.
Bears, Vikings. Give me the Bears.
The Bears.
Give me the Bears.
You can't. Come on.
I'm taking the Bears.
I got the
We
Vikings.
almost beat them the first time. We should have beat them the first time. So it's
Vikings are at home. Jefferson.
I want to win at least one division game. Like
Dylan, you're pulling a Chris right now. You can't think the Bears are really going to win this game.
I don't, but I'm taking them.
Hey,
I'm taking them.
That's the life of a Bears fan.
Maybe they'll surprise me.
I'm taking the Vikings. Vikings are really good. Like we've mentioned, Sam Darnold's throwing a lot of touchdowns and not making mistakes.
Yeah.
I'm going Vikings.
Yeah.
Last one, like we said, 2 Monday night, Falcons at the Raiders. I want to take the Raiders so bad just because Desmond Ritter.
Take him.
It could be his legacy game.
Do it.
I can't. I'm going to go with the Falcons,
do it.
though. I'm going to pick the Falcons.
Yeah, I can't take the Raiders.
I think it will still. It might be close though, because this Raiders team was able to keep up with the Chiefs, but that was with O'Connell, not Desmond Ritter. So who knows? Falcons in this one for me.
I'm taking the Falcons too. It's the Raiders are fighting for Shedeur Sanders right now. I don't think they have winning on their mind, especially not this late in the season.
Yeah.
But on to the bets of the week.
Bets of the week.
I think I'll have to look back. I think I have chosen a different player every single week, and it is not working for me, like at all. I am like 2-12 for bets, player props. This week, I mean, he's been pretty good for like the last 5-6 weeks outside of like maybe one game. That was but Garrett Wilson over 66.5 receiving yards. They're playing the Jaguars this week. Please, Garrett.
Worst secondary in the league.
I need one. Just throw me a bone, please. Yeah. I'm tired of watching my player props just go down the drain every week.
Mine, I'm going to go with the highest game total of the week. Yeah. I'm going St. Brown over 71.5 receiving yards.
We'll say the last time this happened and the last time the Lions had a very high-scoring game, St. Brown was the one that didn't end up.
It did,
like
and everybody
scored.
Everyone else,
St. Brown.
Yes. But I mean, we saw what Puka did against this team. We saw what Cooper Kupp did against this team.
Yep.
St. Brown is, I believe, to be on the same level as those two guys when it comes to talent, when it comes to getting open and how they move him around in that offense. Yeah. I like St. Brown to probably go 100 yards, maybe a touchdown. Throw it in there.
Throw it in there?
I've got him 71.5.
Great game regardless, that's for sure.
Well, with all that being said, thank you for watching. If there's any talk about college football that you have to mention, don't, give us your best input, whether that's negative or positive. Let's try to keep it a conversation. Yeah. Let's not just call each other stupid because our opinions are different.
Our podcast equipment.
Yeah, they
lose the value anyways the second you open up the box, so it's really not worth selling.
I'm all for having conversations. I think, that's part of what this is. Don't forget, subscribe to the YouTube for the full clip or full video of all the conversations. If you just care about the clips, that's obviously on TikTok and Instagram and the smaller social medias. And if there's any topics that we missed, if there's any big news that we missed with it, whether that's certain players transferring to certain schools, let us know. And we will see you guys next week. Hope you enjoy your weekend. And, like we've mentioned,
enjoy your winter break.
Christmas, enjoy. For Dylan, hold on.
Oh,
graduated college.
I am officially
done.
Yep. For now, I am officially a bachelor in business management with a minor in sports marketing. Thank you, Kennesaw State University, for having me. On to law school.
Big congrats to Dylan. That's a huge accomplishment. No matter what school you go to, no matter if you play sports, no matter what it is, that's a big deal. So congrats to him. He graduates what? Friday?
My ceremony is Friday. I didn't think of it. I should have brought my little cap.
Yeah.
I could put it on the table.
Yeah.
Well, maybe next week when it's actually
So we are
happened.
very proud of him for that. That's a huge accomplishment. So that is awesome.
5.5 years.
But yes, if there's anything you want to add, anything you want to say, whether that's college football, NBA, MLB, whatever the case may be, we love having conversations. So let us know, and that will do it. Episode 20 in the books. That's a huge number.
Mm-hmm.
On to what?
21 and on.
On to 50.
On to 50.
Road to 50.
Is that the next milestone?
Okay. Thanks you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you guys next week.
All right. It's been real, guys.